It's the Forever Knight A-thon. We're recapping and reviewing every single episode of Season 1 of the 1990s Canadian police procedural about a vampire detective taking a bite out of crime. Episode 17, on reality TV, starts about as badly as an episode of this show reasonably could. We open in media res, watching a fictional documentary TV show a la Cops called Cop Watch. Nick and Skanky are being accompanied by a reality TV crew on their nightly rounds when they're forced to confront an active shooter. And Nick is frustrated because the film crew being there means he can't take full advantage of his vampire powers to stop the shooter. Also, maybe that's something to think about, Nick. If the vampire powers are such an advantage and your whole thing is trying to become human, it seems like that would, it would make you less effective. But okay, all right, just a small note there. So, pretty bad idea for an episode, I thought. Pretty dumb and gimmicky. I audibly groaned, especially at, the title, on reality. You think this is reality TV? It's on reality TV. Yeah, nice. Real clever, guys. It seems like the episode is going to be about Nick having to navigate that situation without giving away his secret. What if they find out he's a vampire? Yada, yada, yada. Boring. Who cares? But then the documentary crew get footage of him flying and being a vampire and shit immediately. And they can use digital technology to enhance the image, like how they do that on TV,
Can you make it a little clearer?
Bobby, let's try another pixel factor. Brighten it up. Bring it closer.
This is great. Every cop on the beat should have a video with them.
Oh yeah, it'll happen. Next couple of years.
Don't worry, Skanky. I'm sure if it comes to that, they'll just turn them off whenever they want to do something against the law. And all of this is pretty bad news for Nick, actually, not just because they're going to expose him, but because, as we learn via flashbacks to Nick's days as a surgeon in the American Civil War, when humans get proof of vampires, a set of vampire cops is called in to kill them. So this episode is about cop vampires versus vampire cops. Nick learns this the hard way when one of his pals gets photos of Lacroix gorbling somebody. They show up, totally murder-fy that guy, and Lacroix sticks his neck out for Nick, even though they don't seem to be friends at this point.
He has no part in this. The fault is mine.
They're not getting along. They're not friends right now. They're not friends during the Civil War.
Tell me that you abstain in the midst of this bounty.
I draw only what sustenance I need so that I can work. I do not prey on misery.
You warm my dead heart, Nicholas.
Then they are friends again during World War II, and then they're not friends later. We also finally get some rules about how hypnotism works. Fucking finally. Apparently, humans can't be hypnotized into accepting something if they have some hard proof of the opposite, like a photo or video.
As long as she has empirical evidence, it will be impossible to make her forget.
So this reporter lady gets Nick doing vamp shit on video and figures out that he's a vampo pretty quickly. So she asks Skanky, "Hey, Nicholas, your partner, he ever get shot?" Skanky's like, "No, I don't think so. Not since I've known him anyway. I mean, he might have been shot at some point in his mysterious past. I don't know anything about him before. He just kind of showed up one day. I mean, he's not the type to open up to people, he's very secretive. Doesn't even socialize with people, he doesn't come out with us. I mean, I understand why he doesn't socialize during the day, obviously, because of his skin condition that makes him avoid sunlight, you see. But we've been partners for almost a year, and we've never even had dinner together. In fact, I've never seen him eat anything. Just about the only thing I know about his diet is that he strongly dislikes garlic. Don't get me wrong, though. He's a great guy, always running headfirst into danger, almost as though he's not afraid of things that would kill a normal person, like bullets, for example. He always just shows up, sometimes supernaturally quickly, wherever he's needed. Also, and this doesn't seem relevant, but one time in the first episode, a guy did specifically accuse him of being a vampire right in front of me. And I should also mention I am a professional detective. Why do you ask? What a pickle for nickel. He doesn't want this lady to get all murder-fied, but as long as she has that tape, she's in danger, and he can't just hypnotize her about it. He's got to get those tapes destroyed before the enforcers find out, which is going to be tough, actually, because early in the episode, Nick walks past this guy and gives him a weird look. We, the audience, don't know why at that moment, but apparently that guy's a vampo, and he tips off the enforcers, or maybe is one of them. It's unclear. The implication here seems to be that Vampire Society installs spies in various media outlets to protect themselves from being filmed and discovered. And that rules. So what I might do, if I were Nick in that situation, I might explain to her, hey, you caught me. Yes, I'm a vampire. Good job. Good reporting. One thing to know about vampires, and this is relevant to you actually, is that if you try to expose us, there are these guys who will kill you, so just be aware of that before you rush into any decisions. So if you want, we could just destroy these tapes and I could make you forget any of this happened, and that would save your life. So we could do that if you wanted to do that. He doesn't go that route, though. Luckily, the tapes get destroyed anyway, and he hypnotizes her and the enforcers leave. He also scares away the vampo she's working with, though it's not clear to me why that guy would be intimidated by Nick, considering he is also a vampire. Nonetheless, this episode is jam-packed with little hints about vampire lore that just kind of linger like that. There's a scene where Lacroix just casually reveals he can read Nick's mind, and that he deliberately never taught Nick the technique to avoid it.
You never could hide your thoughts from me, Nicholas. I'm afraid I was a poor teacher in that area. Or maybe, yes. We skipped those lessons, didn't we?
And this is actually subtle foreshadowing of later events, because it turns out Lacroix has other powers that will be relevant to the story later. There's a lot of reference to the code, a set of rules that vampires all abide by. And Jeanette even talks about how there are superstitions and rumors that circulate among the vampire population that Nick is no longer privy to, having decided to live in the mortal world. You get a little sense of vampires having this parallel culture that you don't really see in the show. And this is Forever Knight firing on all cylinders. This show is really good at keeping vampires mysterious, even though we spend so much time with them throughout the series. They have all these little quirks that sometimes even they themselves aren't aware of. The rules for vampirism are just as confusing and murky for them as they are for the audience. They're wise enough to leave a lot to your imagination rather than spell it out for you and destroy the magic. Also, Skanky wants to make it in showbiz, baby. He's got big city dreams. He wants his name up in lights. Probably not going to make it, though, on account of he's not charismatic or good at performing. And all of his friends laugh at him about it, which seems kind of mean.
Hello. Hey, Nat, could you turn it down? It's my agent. What do you mean you're dropping me? No, Marty, this is not kosher. You cannot do this to me. I'm your star client.
And I'd like to thank the people who will forever be my knights over at patreon.com/scaredycats. In particular, I'd like to thank Verbena, Cooper Holmes, Joe McClory, Liz Widow, Maston Ginger, James Garford, C.H. Phillips, Gideon, Charlotte Hollingsworth, Devin Kaler, Spooky Heather Sylvia, and definitely Todd.
And I, Bobby Duke, the star of the channel, would like to thank the following people who's also the stars of the channel on account of their support on patreon.com/scaredycats. We got Jay Torney, Schadenfraulein, Lanston, Rachel Rat, Kato Moore, Carpad, Josh Manez, Hyla Tracy, Louisa Prito, and Jesse. Well, can you believe the shenanigans Nick Knight and his pals got up to in this one? Hey, we're gonna keep going all January, baby. You wanna get these videos a day early? Go on over to Patreon. Oh, wait. You can just wait. I mean, how bad do you need it,